Good day everyone, I am Alexis Quijano and my assigned topics is differential reinforcement process operates in 4K modes to three different types of control by NA. So differential reinforcement process operates in 4K modes. They have for the positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and the positive punishment and negative punishment. So positive reinforcements can also be provided when a behavior yields an increase in status, money, awards, or pleasant feelings. So, um, what is positive reinforcement? So, um, the introduction of a desirable or pleasant stimulus following a behavior is referred to as positive reinforcement. That is the desirable stimulus reinforce the behavior and increase the likelihood that the behavior will occur again. So that's the positive reinforcement, and the negative reinforcements can increase the like likelihood that a behavior will be repeated if the act allows the individual to escape or avoid adverse or um, unpleasant stimuli. So, um, what are the negative reinforcement, or what is negative reinforcement? So, negative reinforcement is the encourage of specific behaviors through the removal or avoidance of a negative outcome or stimulus. This technique is commonly used to commonly used to help children learn good behavior patterns, but it can also be used to train animals and pets. So that's the examples of the negative reinforcement. So the positive punishment serves to increase the probability of a particular behavior being repeated. So when you add a consequence to undesirable behavior, you are using positive punishment. This is done to make it less appealing when your child ignores their responsibilities. One example of positive punishment is adding more chores to the list. So, um, the negative punishment serves to decrease the probability of a particular behavior being repeated. So, negative punishment is to reduce a behavior, or you remove a pleasant stimulus, and negative punishment. A parent, for example, can deprive a child of a favorite toy, and if he misbehaves, uh, sorry, a stimulus the toy is removed in this case to reduce the behavior. So that's the meanings or explanations of the positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and positive punishment and negative punishment. So next is um, Gresham's and Skykes and David Matza neutralization theory. Skykes and Matza developed the neutralization theory in 1958, which viewed the process of becoming a criminal as a learning experience in which potential delinquents criminal master techniques that enable them to counterbalance or neutralize conventional values and drift back and forth between illegitimate and conventional behaviors. Deviators therefore look for loopholes and explanations to justify or neutralize their own deviant actions. So let me some add about that. Skykes, Grisham M. Skykes and David Matza nutrition theory. So, Skykes and David Matza developed what is known as nutrition theory. According to Skykes and Matza, when offenders consider committing criminal acts, they use linguistic device to alleviate their guilt. This allows them to commit crime while preserving their self-esteem. So that's that's my own understanding about the Grams M. Skykes and David Matza nutrition theory. So next is techniques of nutrition by Matza and Skykes. The following are techniques by which offenders justify behavior to themselves and others as acceptable number of grounds. So they have 5 acceptable number of grounds. First is denial of responsibility, second is denial of injury, third is denial of victim, and fourth is condemnation of condemners, and lastly number 5 is appeal to higher authorities. So they are the 5 number of grounds. These are the So next is kay David Matza. So kay David Matza is according to Grisham, Skykes, and David Matza, acts that violate norms or go against beliefs can carry with them shame, which dissuades mass adolescents from engaging in criminal or delinquent acts. So they have the cognizance, consistency, competence, commensurability, and compressions. So the first is cognizance. Describes to what extent the juvenile delinquent understand his committed injustice as such. And consistency describes whether the juvenile delinquent frustrated is the same way as other offenders. So they are the 5 categories of K. David Matza. The competence related to those who judge the behavior of delinquents. And the number 4 is commensurability, describes whether at all the punishment is perceived as appropriate, and compassion refers to legal provisions aimed to juvenile delinquent which from the point of view of the juveniles presents themselves as unfair. So next is the L. So the L. Not only developed a social control theory of delinquency in 1958, but also specified ways to operationalize measure control mechanisms and linking them to self reports of delinquents' behavior. He developed the theory after interviewing 780 young people in Washington state. He emphasized the family as a source of power. So Ivan argued that parental constraints limits on the opportunity of delinquency and parental rewards and punishments could all be used to directly control youth. Then next is the 3 different types of control by Ney. So the direct control, indirect control, and internal control. The direct control punishment and rewards. So what are the direct control? So a direct control, direct control, a control imposed directly on the manufacturing, pricing, and distribution of specific goods, as to opposite to an indirect or general control, such as credit and fiscal policy that affects the economy as a whole, but only indirectly on specific goods. So that's the direct control, and the indirect control is affectionate identification with non-criminals. So what are the indirect control? Indirect control occurs when at least one intermediate entity or persons exist between the corporation and the corporate interest holders at the top of the chain of intermediaries. So the third is internal control, conscience or sense of guilt. So what are the internal control? Internal controls is a process carried out by a company's board of directors, management and other personnel to provide reasonable assurance that information is reliable, accurate, and timely in terms of adhering to applicable laws, regulations, contacts, policies, and procedures. So, yes, behavior may be constant when pre-direct control by their anticipations of parental disapproval, or indirect control, or through the development of conscience and internal constraint on behavior. Some delinquent behavior results from a combination of positive learning and weak and effective social control. So that's all. Thank you. Then that's the that's the examples of three different types of control by the direct control, indirect control, internal control. So that's the last of my topics. So that's all. Thank you.